Back for another how-do video from the Garage Bowling Alley. Today is how do the blocking fingers work. There's two reasons you have blocking fingers. One is you don't want pins dropping into the buckets during a cycle when the deck is down, or else you never know where they're going to fall. And the other is when you have 10 already in the deck, you don't want 10 more up top dropping on top of them. That's why you can run 23, 24 pins in your machine, avoid delays, and you won't ever have a double dump, as they call it, when you have 20 on top of the deck. Let me show you both blocking fingers and then show you how they work, how to adjust them, and hopefully it'll make more sense. And you can check your pin setter out and make sure yours are hopefully in as good of adjustment as possible so you can avoid having pin setter issues. Okay, if you look through your trip lever, you'll see both your blocking fingers right there. Okay, here is your deck height blocking finger, the one on the 7-pin side. Here is your full deck blocking finger, the one on the left side, the 10-pin side. Then you have your interlock probe right here, which is what hits the blocking fingers. It'll keep it from dropping pins whenever it's not supposed to. Now here is your interlock probe. This is the face that hits the blocking fingers to keep it from dropping. In your 5-pin chute, you notice you got this tongue down here at the very bottom, the pin release lever. And whenever the 5-pin goes through, it pushes that down, which releases this. And there's a little roller inside there that the spider is not spring-loaded right now, so it's not releasing. But whenever it's set to the 5-pin, the spider is spring-loaded. When you pull this out, it releases the spider and all the pins fall. The pin release lever that's sitting in the bucket right there, the 5-pin chute, pull it back. See that roller right there? That's what's keeping your spider tight. That roller's a little bit loose there. But when that opens up like that, it releases the spider, which allows it to index. And then when it advances, it latches back, and then the spider is locked. Okay, I've got the turret pretty much advanced over here to the 5-pin spot. Right now it's at the 5-pin spot, and you see that roller right on the lip of that cam right there. As soon as I pull back, it's going to force that roller to go down, which is going to make that spider open up. But that's what causes it to open, is by that cam following the downhill slope to the bottom of that lobe right there. And then when it advances, turret locks back in place, keeps going. Now you notice that left blocking finger on the 10-pin side is down because we have pins in the deck right now. So I'm going to turn it back on and show you when it comes around here and the 5-pin goes through, is the pin release lever will keep it from releasing the pins. And it'll keep it from dropping 10 pins on top of 10 pins. I'm going to go and turn it on and you can see that. There we go. See how that blocking finger's down? And it's going to stop the pins from dropping. Here it comes. Now you got 10 up top waiting to go. You have 10 in the buckets. And that blocking finger is what keeps it from dropping 10 pins on top of 10 pins. Now, if you're ever having an issue, or maybe you've got an issue with your blocking finger, something's going wrong, and you can't stop it from functioning properly just to get through league, take out a couple of pins. Only put 19 pins in your machine, and that way it can never do that until you can get the repair done properly. But if you only do 19 pins, that'll solve your issue. You might have a few slow, 180s waiting for your 10th pin to get back up, but it'll help you get through league. Now see, here is the long link, and it's got a little latch that's caught right here. You see that roller down here though? That when the machine goes down to 270 set pins, it's going to come up and lift this lever up right here, and that's going to release that blocking finger so it can go back up, and then you'll drop 10 pins as soon as it gets back up. The other blocking finger is, once that releases at 270, it's going to go up, but the other blocking finger is going to do its job, which always, whenever the machine's cycling, the one on the 7-pin side will drop down to stop it from dropping pins unless the machine is up. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on to cycle it here, and we're going to watch that guy release there, blocking finger is going to come up there, and then it can drop the next set of 10 pins. All right, now watch here at 270. Got the strike cycle, didn't release it. Down to 270, releases it. Drop 10 pins, relatches. Blocking finger is back down again. But right here, I can lift it up, release that. See, the blocking finger is back up again. Don't forget, you get in the machine, pull this plug, turn off the breaker. That'll keep you from getting hurt. Right here is your long link. This is what latches it. This guy right here hits the roller here whenever the thing indexes, pushes it back and latches it. See back there at the back where it's moving back there, I showed you that a minute ago. And it's got to make sure that has enough push on that to go past that just a little bit to catch. I was up in Hamilton working with Anthony on his machines, and lane 1 started doing a double dump, as we call it, where you have 10 pins on 10 pins, and it wasn't working right. What I noticed is when this long link went back, it was just barely going back far enough to catch that latch. You want to make sure it passes it a little bit where the latch catches down and then comes forward a little bit. So you got a little extra play in there. His was just barely making it back far enough to catch. I took the long link off and compared it to a new one that he had. Luckily he had new parts, and it was definitely shorter. So we put the other long link on there, never happened again. So whenever the long link pushes on this guy to make it go down, see right now it would be up and out of the way. But right here, when this goes back and catches, see how that pushes back and latches? That's going to push on that little lever right there, and that's going to hold the blocking finger down. Right now, it would be up, but this would be pushing back, holding it down. And once that releases from the latch, comes back forward again, the blocking finger can go back up again, like that. And right now, it is down. See, it's not up. There's another adjustment on here to make that thing go up to the right position whenever it does go up. And there's this shaft right here that it's attached to. So when you rotate this here, it rotates that shaft right there. Now, whenever it is forward, you got the deck shifting cable right here. And there's this little tab on the outside of the cable right here. If you look real close, this guy right here. When it comes forward, guess what it pushes on? Right there. This is what sets your height of your blocking finger up. So if your blocking finger is maybe not high enough, again, like I was saying, and your interlock probe doesn't clear it, it needs to be up high enough to clear it, down. But when it comes up, it needs to go up high enough to make sure this interlock probe goes underneath it without having to push it up. What you do is you loosen up these little 2 7/16 bolts right here and adjust this guy. And pushing it back a little bit will increase the height. So if it's only coming up a little bit and it needs to come up more, you move it back a little bit. See, it'll raise and lower by this. So if it's not high enough, move this back a little bit. You don't want it too far back because you don't want to break something. So just gradual movements on this to move this guy back a little bit, because whenever the deck is finished shifting, right now the deck is shifted back, is set in pins. This is back. But at 0, when the deck is shifted forward, this comes forward, hits that, raises your blocking finger. And also this cable on here is what actually is your blackout control cable whenever you have a deck jam. Anything that interferes with the movement of the deck when it's shifting, setting pins, like if you get a double pin in a bucket, is going to restrict the deck from moving. And when this tries to come forward, it's going to pull that cable on the very back, which has got a blackout switch on the back side. It's kind of hard to see from here, but that's what blacks out your machine. You have 2 different blackout switches. We can go over that in another video. But this is your blackout cable, basically, in case there's anything in the moving deck that stops movement, pulls on that. And when a pin interferes with movement, pulls down on the cable from the switch, machine turns off. Now you see the second blocking finger on the 7-pin side is up right now. Whenever the deck is up at either 0 or 180, the machine can drop pins, or on second ball it can drop anytime because the deck doesn't go down on second ball cycle. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on here, run it through a cycle, and let you watch the right blocking finger, which is the deck height restriction drops, so that way it doesn't ever drop pins unless the machine is up. I'll go ahead and run it through a cycle here. And watch that other blocking finger drop. During the cycle it goes down. You see if the interlock probe was there, it would hit that. It's 180, it comes up, back down, and then it's coming back up to 360 or 0, and it's back up again. So now if there are 10 pins 1 and 2, it could drop anytime. Now I'm going to go ahead and cycle it here. It's on second ball. Pins can still fall, 180. It's going down. Got both blocking fingers down. And now both blocking fingers are back up. Pins can now fall in at any time. But during the cycle, here we go again. You're going to cycle it. We're in the middle of a cycle. It's one to drop pins. It can't. 180. It releases them. There you go. Now let's go down and we'll show you how to adjust these. Anyways, back to the blocking finger here on the 7-pin side, which is the one for the deck height. Allows the pins only to fall into the buckets when the deck is all the way up. This is your adjustment right here. If you ever wondered what that thing was hanging down there, you got 2 bolts right there. You can loosen them. But see, you got this little pin through here. Pin pushes on that whenever the thing comes up, and your blocking finger raises. See how that works? If it's not coming up high enough, loosen these 2 and slide them apart. Slide this guy down a little bit. Look for a little gap up here to form from where it was before. You can get a marker and mark it if you want to. But you want to make that a little bit lower, this piece lower, and that'll make that blocking finger come up higher. So this adjusts your 7-pin side blocking finger whenever the deck is down. So make sure your blocking finger comes up high enough to clear the top of the interlock probe whenever it needs to. That it's not like hitting right at the very top and the blocking finger or interlock probe is pushing under and kind of having to force under the blocking finger. You want to make sure that clears it. Hopefully that makes a little bit more sense of how things work. If you got any more questions or any other requests, let us know. Send us a message. Garage Bowling Alley, YouTube, Facebook.com. Thanks for watching. See you next time from the garage.